Alright, so I want to create one more pattern using a sweep and adding a material parameter to it so you can see how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Family New and open up the curtain wall panel pattern based. And I'm going to go ahead and select the pattern itself and change it from rectangle to, we will use, how about a hexagon? Okay, so it changes that pattern to a hexagon. And I'm going to go ahead and select that pattern and change it from a 10-foot to a 2-foot module, just because I know that my pattern piece is going to be a little smaller. And so I just want to be able to get at least a close to an idea of how that's going to look. And if I was working at 10 feet, then it would just look very thin and strange proportionally. The other thing I'm going to do is, you can see the line weight's really thick. And if I put dimensions in at 1/8 of an inch, they're going to be really large. So I'm going to change that to 1 inch equals a foot. Line weight's going to get a little thinner, but we may have to turn the line weight off here in a minute. What I want to do is host a point onto one of these existing reference lines. That's going to allow me to put a profile on there and sweep it. So I'm going to go to Point up here, and I want to go ahead and select Draw on Face instead of Draw on Workplane. And that's going to immediately host that point to a line or whatever it hovers over. You can see it gets small when it gets over it. That means it's hosting. Now I left clicked on that line, and you don't see a point up here, but I know it's there. If you just go to Modify, magically it appears. If you pick it, you can see that it is hosted to that line and will not leave that line. If you by any chance go to Point Element and Draw on Workplane is selected, it will stay large. Like even when I click on the line and it's not hosted to that line, you can tell because it gives you this little gizmo and you can move it off that line. If you want to host something to a line, you can select it, go to Pick New Host, and then place it on that line and it'll work. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And I'm going to select this one and activate the Workplane. And I'm going to draw a reference line, and I'm just going to start from that point and draw down and draw over and draw up until I get an alignment. See that blue alignment, and then draw back over to that point. Now I've got a point that's hosted on a reference line and then another reference line that's hosted on a point, so we're building up a series of relationships here. So I'm going to tab and select that and make that dimension permanent. Maybe pull it out a little bit so it's not right on top. And then I'm going to tab select and make that dimension permanent. Okay, and I'm going to put a couple of parameters on them. So I'm going to select that one, go to the pull down, add parameter, and we'll name that one width. Maybe not capitalized, W. Click OK. And then I'm going to select that one, add parameter, and name it D for depth. Alright, so you're going to see that those two. Now let's flex those parameters. I'm going to open up my Family Types dialog box. And you can see those parameters come up, and I'll just change this one to 6 inches and apply. You can see that that updates, and I'll change this one to 2 feet and apply, and you see that one updates fine. So flexing, our parameters are working. Now I can pick my profile and pick the existing reference line and go to Create Form. It's going to sweep that form around that profile. Now I can make a couple of different types. So open up the Family Types dialog box, go to New. We'll just name this one 6 by 2 feet. Click OK. Let's make another new one, and we'll name this one, how about 1 foot by 4 feet. And we'll pick this at 1 foot, and we'll put that at 4 foot and apply. Right? And maybe we'll just make one more. And we'll name this, how about 3 by 6 inches, 3 by 6. So we'll just make a 3 by 6 inch one. So 3 inches by 6 inches and apply. Okay. Then I'm going to save this. So save, and I'll save it in with the rest of my curtain panels. And we'll name this Hex 01. Okay, I'll save it. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up my assignment for lecture 2 here and load it into this project, and we'll take a look at it on this horizontal wall. So if I go back, load into project, select this wall, I'm just going to delete the existing pattern and division, select that, divide the surface, and let's just do it by a distance of, how about 6 inches, and a distance over here also of 6 inches. Whoops, got 6 feet over here, so let's do 6 inches. And in the pull down, I'll come and pick, how about the 3 by 6. So if we pick that 3 by 6, you can see that the 3 by 6 comes in. If I go to my east elevation, it then populates that wall. You can see that it's doubling up, right? Like there's one pattern, there's another pattern. So we could come in, it's pretty thick. We could come in and thin that up, so you're actually getting a 6-inch pattern there. If I pick this and I go probably try to put this 1 foot on there, I would imagine it might break. So I don't know if it can fit that 1 foot in there. You see how long it's taking to try and generate that? And it says you can't do it because that 1 foot fills up the entire circle. So you just hit cancel. I doubt. So you will, even though it's a valid size for a larger grid. So if I have 1 foot by 4 feet, I could change this grid to a distance of 4 feet by 4 feet, right? And now if I pick, ooh, that's really big. How about, let's try 2 feet by 2 feet. Now if I select that, I can go in and probably put the 1 foot by 4 foot in there and it fits, right? Although it's odd. But let's go ahead and pick this and set it back to 6 inches and 6 inches. And it will probably give us an error message. Right. So we'll cancel that. Let's go ahead and set it back to our smaller 3 by 6. Right, and we can set this back to maybe 1 foot by 1 foot. Whoop. Come on, you can do it. And we could also select that, go to edit type, duplicate, and we'll make, how about a 1 by 4. Click OK. We'll make this 1 inch. And we'll make that 4 inches, and we'll click OK. And now that gets quite a bit thinner. And if we come in and set this to 6 inches and 6 inches, right, it gets a little bit less chunky, right? You could also, it has these overhanging pieces. You can adjust the 6 inches, or you could tell it, I just want to have an empty one on the ends, so it'll go in and just sort of clean that up for you a little bit. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about is material parameters, so we'll do that in just a minute.